Okay, the next thing we're going to do here is put on the ring compressors. I'm lucky, I've got a set of 6. I've collected them over the years. They didn't come that way. You had to use, I think 4 is what you got when you bought the set. These have 2 different pieces. They have a crooked one and a straight one. Straight one goes on the up and down pistons, and when you line these up, you always have one straight ahead and one all the way back, and then the other ones like this fit to keep the pistons straight ahead. And so you put them on one side or the other side, depending on what it takes to make the piston line up with the ones that are straight ahead. So I'll put on a couple right here. I make sure that the rings have been lubricated, and I make sure that the rings are in the middle of the stops. So I line them up. There are little keepers that keep the rings from turning. And these are spring loaded. So you put them on like so. I bring them all the way out to the edge. And then I turn the knob and back and squeeze the rings. And as I do so, I keep pressing them with my fingers to make sure that they're not hung up on the stop. You can feel it with your fingers, and sometimes you can move the rings just a little bit to make them fit. And I think this one's a little bit, there we go. Now I can't feel it with my fingers anymore. This is the first one that's going to go in. So that's the, and I like lots of lubrication again on it. Like I say, I've already put some on, and I'll put some more on. Okay. Now one of the offshoot ones, this piston right here has off to the side, so I'm going to make the crook on that side. Keep it, like I said, you want to keep it straight. You want to keep the piston straight. All right. Take my fingers, if I feel something sharp sticking into my fingers, I know I haven't got these things quite lined up right. Because it's very important they be lined up. So when it goes in, it doesn't catch on the edge of the bore. So we'll continue on with the rest of these, doing the same thing until they're all lined up. Okay, one thing I wanted to go through before I went any further, I've got all the ring compressors on. Whenever you're doing an engine and you are going to use your used pistons, you need to clean the grooves out, like so, with a broken off piece of the ring, the top ring, if you're going to replace just the top ring. And you want to make sure you can roll them all the way around, like this, so that they'll make sure they fit into the groove fairly easily, so they won't hang up when you squeeze your ring compressors to make it work. And now we're going to lower it into the block, and I'm going to make very sure that I put the crankshaft top at the top of the block and not backwards. I have done that before. Okay, I'm going to oil up the bore. Now if we've done these right, my longest piston is pretty much in the middle, and that's kind of the way I want to start. There are guys that say they can put these in with their fingers. Yeah, well, I don't recommend it. It's pretty close to impossible. But it can be done. And the other thing is, the blind holes, you want to make sure you get the oil out of them. I have 3 of my pins which hold my reed cages, but my bearing, center main bearing hole, you don't want to have oil in it because it's a pressed fit. And if you have oil in there, it makes it kind of hard to get the thing together. All right, so I've got my curves this way. This is the top of the engine, and here we go. It looks like it might be real easy with these ring compressors, but it is not. It is still a bear. And trying to get them all kind of going. I've got one in already. How about that? Okay. If you're lucky, every once in a while, they just slide right in, but I don't think we're going to have that kind of luck with this baby. This has not been that easy. So one's in, so to release the tension, the rings are down past, are actually in the bore for this one, so I can take it out. They're kind of spring loaded. Now I've got, I guess my next one is this one right here at the end. That's a curved one. Whoop. That really went down pretty easy. All right, where are we stuck? Something stuck up. There we go. Yep. There's that one. Okay. Anything hanging up in here? No, but we've got to rotate the piston back again a little bit because we're going to go in crooked if we don't. There we go. I got that one in. Take this one out. This one's, I'd say this one's going too. Sometimes when they don't go in, usually it's because you had a hung ring. You have a ring that's sitting on top of the little stud that holds it from rotating. And that's why it's real good to spend the time to make sure they're really all sitting where they're supposed to be. Well, now we're down to the shortest one, which is right here, and I guess we're in. To my total amazement, that was a quick job. All right. Let's see if we can see. All right. Turn the camera down a little bit so we can see a little bit better. All right. Okay. And I pull this one out. And we want to rotate our center main bearing, which I may not be able to get in. I may have to lift it out a little bit to get it around. All right. Now I want to rotate all of my stuff, my reed cages, so the opening is up, and the same thing with my center mains. And then I let it go in very, very slowly so that I can, all right. Now what I'm doing right now is centering them and making sure they wiggle just a little bit. Take your time on this because it won't go down unless you've got it working correctly. Okay, I'd say my reed cage is stuck on this one. Nope. Guess it's doing okay. There we go. I think it was a little bit in the wrong place. You can kind of wiggle them just a little bit if they're sitting right on. Okay, because a lot of times you'll see them misaligned. People try and hammer them down. You can't do that. That is not acceptable practice. Until you're pretty sure they're all down where they're supposed to be. I look in from the end. If the reed cage is pretty close to being in contact with the bottom, it means you're probably pretty good. This one seems